welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be things to know before, during, and after a C-section. Anybody that knows me personally knows that I had a very traumatic birth experience with this beautiful little girl. I did not plan a C-section. That was not my ideal birth. I did not want that. I wanted an all-natural birth, and that's not how it worked out. Births don't always work out the way you want them to. That is definitely something I learned. I went in and I wanted no pain medication, no interference. I wanted nothing. I wanted the naturalist birth close to a home birth that I could have, and I didn't get that. So I'm going to tell the story of the way things happened so you can get a little background on her birth, and then I will go into the things to know before a C-section, during a C-section, and after. So I went in on a Tuesday afternoon to be induced with Stormi because she did not want to come out, and I was doing amazing. They used a thing called Cervidil, and it thinned my cervix, and I did not need anything else. I was contracting on my own. My contractions were insane. Like, they lasted 4 minutes and were 45 to 50 second breaks between them. So they were off the charts crazy. I was doing fantastic. John Michael was amazing with support. We watched movies and he helped me relax, and I bounced on my yoga ball, and pretty much it was just going great. Like, I was doing so awesome. So fast forward a whole 24 hours to the next day, Wednesday, at 10 p.m. So it had been over 24 hours at this point that I had been in active labor, and my contractions started to pick up a little bit, and I was laying in bed watching a movie, and my back started to hurt. So I was having really bad back labor, and I stood up and I was just trying to, massage it, walk it out, and my water broke. So my nurse comes in, gets me all set up with a gigantic pad and all this stuff. So she goes out and I have to use the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, and when I come back out, my water completely breaks. Not just a little puddle, like the whole 9 yards, gushing. She is bouncing, so sorry, she's just a little excited. It's gushing and it's going everywhere. It's just literally like I was peeing. That's basically the way I could sum it up, is that it was like I was peeing non-stop. So John Michael gets my nurse, and I tell her, I was like, I'm hurting really bad. And it was like a jolt, kind of where your cervix would be. That's where I felt the jolt. And it happened 2 or 3 times, and I was like, this is really painful. This is not the contractions that I've been feeling. Like, this is something different. And my nurse was like, no, you're okay, you're okay. And I was like, no, something's wrong. Like, I'm hurting. Like, it's not a contraction. And she goes, lay on your bed right now. And then an alarm goes off, and my doctor, another doctor, 5 or 6 nurses and corpsmen run in the room, and my doctor goes, this is gonna hurt really bad, stay still, and sticks her hand in my cervix and says, call a code purple. And she goes, don't freak out, but we have to get you to the OR right now. So then when they call a code purple, this woman runs in the room, or a nurse, and she says, I'm gonna give you some shots in your arm. I'm sorry, I've got to do this right now. So she does that, and everything is happening in slow motion. Like, when I talk about it and I relive those moments, it's like everything happened in slow motion. I don't remember it as a fast pace. I don't remember it I don't remember it going by quickly. We were in the middle of a movie when all of this happened, so John Michael is kind of pushed to the back of the room because all the nurses and my doctor is around me. And my doctor says, I need somebody to replace my hand So a nurse steps up and puts her hand in my cervix, and she says, your baby's cord has fell through your cervix, and she is cutting off her oxygen and blood supply. If you don't know what that is, it's a prolapse cord. It means the cord has fell through and the baby is squishing the cord and keeping her from getting oxygen and blood supply. So it was killing her. Her heart rate had completely stopped. So it had started to come back up when they were holding her head off the cord. So they rushed me to an OR, and at this point, I didn't have any pain medication, so they were going to try to put me to sleep, and that means John Michael couldn't be there. Well, I am terrified of needles. I'm terrified of anything that has to do medical. I cannot handle it. I'm so queasy. It just freaks me out to no ends. So I'm crying. They're saying, like, you're bleeding a lot. We don't know what's going on. Just stay calm. So we get into the OR, and I have severe asthma. So they said, as long as we're holding your baby's head off of her cord, her heart rate's staying up pretty good. So we're going to do a spinal tap, because they didn't want to put me to sleep and have to put a tube down my throat. So since they were able to do a spinal, John Michael was allowed in the middle of my C-section. They had already cut me. He gets to come in for a second, and he's, calming me down, patting my head. And they say, baby's out. And she is not crying at all. She's not making any noise. So I start screaming, is she okay? Is she okay? Why is she not crying? I was so scared. It was just so traumatizing and so traumatic. And after about 2 minutes, I heard the faintest little noise. It wasn't a cry. It wasn't anything remotely similar to a cry. It was kind of like just a little squeak, and that was it. And they said, okay, Dad, you can come over here. So John Michael gets to go over, help them clean her up. The doctor was like, she looks good, she sounds good, she just took a little while to catch her breath, she's fine. And he brought her over to me, and this is probably the only thing that I can recall in very great detail in the OR. Is I remember him bringing her over to me and me going, you are the most beautiful little girl I've ever seen. You look exactly like your daddy. Because she did. But she was so beautiful and so perfect that I could not help but cry. It was just amazing. Like, I became a mom in that moment, and I love reliving that one moment of my traumatic birth. Oh, I'm about to cry. Oh, you were worth it all, baby. So that was the story of her birth. I clearly did not plan a C-section. I didn't know I was going to have a C-section. So before preparing, this is what I wish I would have known if I knew I was going to have a C-section, which I was a fanatic, and I watched every birth vlog that I could on YouTube. Literally anything that I had access to, I looked at those videos. So the first thing that I would say to prepare for a C-section is mentally. It is not fun. And given my situation was an emergency, it was very traumatic and scary. So if you're planning a C-section, it might not be as scary. It might not be as traumatic and overwhelming on you mentally. I wish I had known that I was going to have a C-section, because I would have prepared for when I came home. I would have set up an area specifically for the things that I would need. That way I didn't have to get up. John Michael did amazing taking care of me after I had a C-section, considering we're 8,000 miles away from family and we had no other help. During my C-section, obviously it was crazy and hectic, and there was a lot going on trying to get her out as quickly as possible. I wish I had known that once I had the spinal block, I would shake. And when I say shake, I mean you cannot control your body. your arms are shaking, my teeth were chattering. It was like I was freezing to death. I could not control it. I couldn't even hold her for the first 2 hours of her life because I could not stop my arms from shaking. It was wild. So prepare for that. Okay, Stormy just went down for a nap, so let's finish this video. Another thing to prepare for during a C-section is, even though you are completely numb and you don't feel any pain, you still feel every touch, every pull, every tug. You feel it all. You feel the pressure, and even though it's not painful, it's still weird and it's very uncomfortable. When they pull your muscles apart and they start to rip them so they can get to the baby, they'll say something like, you're gonna feel a lot of pressure, it's gonna be a little trouble breathing. It feels like a grown man is sitting on your chest. It is not fun. That was probably the scariest part other than the initial cut. Let's talk about after a C-section. If I had known that I was going to have a C-section, I would have set up my house to where every room would have exactly what I needed. That way I didn't have to get up and go do something. John Michael was awesome when we came home from the hospital. He pretty much did everything around the house. He did everything that I needed to get done. And if I did need to get up for some reason, he would help me get up and do it. You are very sore. The car ride home is super uncomfortable. It's painful. It is very painful. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I had a great recovery, but it was hard and it was not fun. So some of the things that helped me after my C-section were adult diapers. Yes, I said adult diapers. I will post a picture right here. I bought the Always Discreet just because they're a little softer material. So I did not want anything touching my incision area at all. I did bleed a little bit on my incision, so I didn't want anything possibly getting stuck to it. So those adult diapers were great. They're super high-waisted and super soft material, so I just slip them on like a pair of regular underwear and go. I wore those probably the first 2 weeks after Stormy's birth. I'm not even gonna lie, just because they were super comfortable, they were convenient for me, and I just liked them better than wearing pads. So when I was ready to wear a pad and underwear, I bought high-waisted underwear. I think I bought Fruit of the Loom. I don't know. I'll link some high-waisted underwear in the description box below. But I made sure they were super high-waisted, and I bought a size bigger, that way they weren't tight at all. And then I would wear those, and just a big, thick pad. That's all I wore. Very stretchy clothes, like a t-shirt dress, sweatpants. I personally wore super high-waisted leggings, again, because I did not want anything touching my incision. It was sore, it was irritated, it hurt. I did not wear jeans until maybe 3 or 4 weeks postpartum, and they were still high-waisted, so nothing was tight around my incision area. I wore lots of leggings, lots of sweatpants, lots of pajama pants, because I just kind of lounged around the house. And yeah, those are the main things that helped me get through a C-section recovery. I would definitely say, no matter how good you feel after a C-section, wait until you are fully recovered to try to push yourself. Anyway, so I hope you find this video super helpful if you are about to have a baby, if you're thinking of having a baby, if you've had a C-section but still wanted more information. Again, every pregnancy and every birth is different. Just because my C-section was hard and recovery was easy but still very painful, your body could do something completely different. Every body is different, and every body recovers differently and heals differently, so do keep that in mind. A disclaimer, I am not a medical professional. I am giving you my advice from my experience, So if you have any questions, please ask your healthcare provider for anything extra or additional that you might have questions about. Again, this is just my experience sharing with you guys. Make sure you check out the description box below for all the details on this video. I do share where Stormi and I got our matching t-shirts. Super cute. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and make sure if you've watched this video to subscribe to my channel and follow my Instagram. And we will see you guys in the next video. I hope y'all really enjoyed it, and I'm so happy to have started a YouTube channel. See you next time.